Hey guys, I'm Palak Lakhani. Welcome to my channel. In this channel, I make educational and motivational videos focusing mainly on studying and working in Germany. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, if you haven't seen my last video, then please see it. In last video, we had Niranjan with us who shared his master degree experience in Germany. And today he is again with us to share his PhD experience in Germany. So his experience will be really valuable to all of you who wants to pursue a PhD in Germany because he is in his last stage of PhD. As far as I know, PhD pursuers are given a pay scale based on the funding. Like for example, you get 50% of the funding or 75% of the funding.
Yeah.
So usually when someone is doing his masters, he has this doubt in his mind that what does this terminologies overall mean. So could you please explain us these terminologies?
So these numbers 50, 67, 75, 100. So they just tell you about how much time you have to spend working in the lab or for this particular project. 50% funded guy is free to spend 50% of the time which a full-time position guy spends. But ultimately it's your PhD. So if you are a hard worker or a smart worker, then you might be able to do the job quick as possible, but it's not the case with everyone, right?
Yeah.
Some people tend to take more time than others, so you might have to just make up to produce the results which make sense. It doesn't, so it's just the numbers, but it will also decide the amount of money you get. So we can also provide a link where you can calculate by yourself the percentage of the category to which you fall. But anyway, to explain more in detail, we are all paid by this scale called TVLE13, right? So that means in German Tarifvertrag der Länder. So it translates to English as Federal Wage Agreement. So according to this agreement, different people belong to different levels. Most of the PhD students who are unexperienced in the academic field, they belong to, of course, group 1. And it can be the case that some people even worked for a couple of years after masters and before PhD. So they will fall into other categories, group 2, group 3, and so on, and their salaries will also be increased accordingly. But otherwise it will also depend on the state in which your university lies.
Okay.
And these numbers, yeah, it will decide the money you will get in the end and also the time you are supposed to spend. In simple words. Yeah.
So what is the usual duration a PhD can last?
So initially it's for 3 years. The contract is given for 3 years, but like I said, the ideal number would be 3 to 5 years. Some people,
5.
yeah, some people take 4 years, or also some people can also finish in 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends really on it depends really on what you have done before.
Okay.
There can be tricky situations where, for example, your master thesis topic was completely different than your PhD topic. Then you definitely need 6 to 8 months of time to read the papers and to get to know that particular field. So, but if you already were doing master thesis in that group, then you will cut down this time and you will directly jump into the experimental. Yeah, so you will be an expert in that.
Okay.
Yeah, so 3 to 5 years I would say.
3 to 5 years is the normal period that
Yeah.
a PhD can last.
But that also depends on discipline and individual. Yeah.
What are the responsibilities of a PhD pursuer in Germany?
So that depends mainly on what your supervisor is. If he is a full-time professor or a junior professor or just a project manager.
Okay.
So if he is a project manager, then you don't have to teach any courses in the university. But let's say if your supervisor is a full-time or a junior professor, then you will be asked to indulge in some of the practical courses in bachelor's or even some masters, or when he is absent and if you are good in teaching, then you will be asked to give some lectures as well in some cases if your supervisor is very busy. So that's one responsibility as a PhD. And you will also be responsible to teach your junior colleagues who will join later than you did.
Okay.
So yeah, you will definitely know a couple of techniques and you will have to share the knowledge, because like you say, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
And regarding the coursework, it's again subjective, but on an average in Germany, there is nothing like coursework in Germany, unlike US, for example, where you have to do the coursework for initial 1 or 2 years. In Germany, that's not the case. But however, in my case, it's a bit tricky because I did bachelor's in mechanical engineering and then master's in material science and engineering. So now I want to get a PhD in physics, pure physics. So since my previous degrees were all engineering based, so if I want doctor engineering degree, then I don't have to take any subjects, additional subjects. But if I want doctorate in natural sciences, then I should take some subjects like quantum mechanics and things like that. So it's always subjective, and this will be decided by your supervisor and Prüfungsamt or examination center. Yeah, examination office.
Okay. And usually, I think the PhD amount is sufficient for a person to live in Germany. But many people, like when they are doing their PhD, they also get married or they get engaged. So they also need a second income, second source of income. So are you allowed to do a part-time job while doing your PhD in Germany?
First of all, once let's say a PhD student got engaged or got married, then the tax class will fall into a different one.
Okay.
If his wife is not working, then the tax class will be different, and your tax will reduce from, let's say, 40% to some number.
Okay.
I cannot say exactly, but it will reduce.
Okay.
And another thing is, you should be able to do part-time job in parallel to PhD. But you should always keep in mind that your tax class will also be affected.
Okay.
But most importantly, the money you receive as a salary while doing PhD is more or less sufficient for you to balance your life. And also another thing is, you will not get so much free time while doing PhD.
Yeah, that's true.
On the weekend, you just want to relax and not do anything.
Yeah. As far as I know, there are two types of PhD thesis. One is cumulative and one is monographic.
Yes.
So could you please explain both of this?
Yes. So, like I said, during the PhD, some people can publish and some people can't.
Yeah.
So, let's say you have 2 or 3 publications already published before you're graduating, then you are free to do this cumulative thesis. So, cumulative thesis is basically a thesis which is a collection of articles which have been published already in the recognized journal, right? Scientific journals, or at least accepted for publication. And this kind of thesis, cumulative thesis, can work as an alternative for monographic thesis. So instead of monographic, you are free to submit cumulative thesis only.
And is there any criteria like impact factor or something should be?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think it's again subjective from what discipline, from discipline to discipline it varies, and from topic to topic. The decision will also be taken ultimately by the Prüfungsamt and your supervisor, for example. But anyway, each university will tell you minimum number of publications you should have in your name as with you as the first author, right? So you should be the first author. So at least the university will mention at least 2 publications to be able to submit cumulative thesis.
Okay.
So once you meet this criteria, then you can, for example, in my university, it just says that if you have 3 publications with you as the first author, then you just pin all these things together and write a piece of text or introduction which makes sense with the publications which you have done, or just write the introduction in such a way that it will act as a bridge to connect your knowledge and your topic to the list of publications you have produced.
Okay.
So after doing that, you can just pin all the publications and submit to the Prüfungsamt. That's cumulative thesis or cumulative thesis. Monographic is a normal thesis where you will just write like in a traditional way, like how you wrote your master thesis. But there are certain things to take into account before writing monographic thesis.
Okay.
Let's say you have 1 publication and few others are still underway. It's not accepted yet. So in this process, you can also write monographic thesis. Your thesis, certain parts of your thesis shouldn't be previously published in a well-reputed journal. or another it can be, but it should be properly mentioned that okay, this piece of work has been published in this particular journal.
Mm-hmm.
And you should also be careful whether to add this paper or not as a content of your thesis, because some publishing organizations have strict guidelines as to which works can be used by in your doctoral thesis or not. But I think with you as a first author, I think you always have the authority over your work, the freedom to publish your own work.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we already know that learning German is the most important thing when you are in Germany or
Yeah.
also in Europe.
Yeah.
So during PhD, you usually don't get time to go to InLingua or any other private classes for
Mhm.
learning German language.
Yeah.
So are there any language classes offered by the university?
Yeah, there are quite few. Like there is this organization called PhD Network. So that's mostly for PhD students. They are responsible for organizing some events, especially for PhD students, to improve their social activities and things like that. So they also organize language classes, especially for PhD students and their spouses as well.
Okay.
So you don't pay so much money. You pay 80 euros per level.
Mm-hmm.
It's for 6 months to finish one level.
Okay.
And likewise, there are also classes offered by Lehreramt or the
Linguistic.
linguistic institute in the university. So they are free. You don't have to pay 80 euros. Again, that will also take 6 months. Yeah, these are the language classes possibilities. But at the same time, you will always be in contact with your colleagues on a daily basis, right?